Hello everyone. So today we are going to explain lesson 2. Um, Previously we've been taking lesson 1, Arab countries and World War One. So we have been covering the background of the World War One and how was the role of the Arabic countries and the role of the British country. So at first, we need to note one important thing, which is the McMahon-Hussein Agreement or the McMahon-Hussein Correspondence. So this was an agreement that has taken place between two countries, the British and the Arab country at that time, uh, led by Sharif Hussein. So the agreement insisted on several points, but on the Arab side, there was an agreement to lead the revolution or the revolt that we can note here. Agreed to lead the Arab revolt against the Ottomans. So this was the first part of the agreement that in order for the British to help the Arabs, the Sharif Hussein has to lead a revolt against who? Against the Ottomans or the colonizing territories by Ottomans. Therefore, um, Britain would help the Arabs, and as a result, Sharif Hussein has initiated this revolt. He has started the revolt in 1916, June 10th, or the 10th of June. And then also the Arabs have, the British has supported the Arab revolt with military supplies, like we have explained previously, and with consultants that we already established. Uh, Here you can outline advisors or consultants that orchestrated the attacks on the Ottoman supply lines. So moving forward from supplies and advisors or consultants, the army has increased from only 3,500 to a total of 70,000 soldiers. And this has drove the Ottomans out of several cities, including Mecca and Taif. And so eventually it has reached the goal which has been placed at first, and that is to help the Arabs regain the territory or the region. But uh, today we have another subject that we need to talk about, which is lesson 2, the war agreements. So we already know the Hussein McMahon agreement or correspondence that I talked before. So this was not only agreement, it's what's not the whole plan for British to help Arabs. There were other plans that they already established co consequently. So first, there was the McMahon Agreement to supply and to lead the revolt. There was also another reason why they need to help the Arab countries. First, First, the British had other interests other than driving off the Ottomans from the region. And the second thing that they have planned is the plans of the future of the region. So not only the present, but also the future of the region has been decided, along with the French and the Russians. So now there are three kinds of powers that are having control of the Arab region instead of the Ottomans. So this has happened secretly. Most importantly, that we need to note that these agreements or these plans were happening secretly. It hasn't been discussed. Um, Reading from the top, the McMahon agreement was not the only agreement that led to the changes. So there was changes that happened. The first change was that the Ottomans has agreed to stop the fight and to leave the region. And then other changes has happened. So besides having the rule under Ottomans, now the rule has become under um, new powers, which are the British and the French, also the support of the Russians. Okay, so several other agreements left them under the rule of other powers. The British, who supported the Arab revolt, had their interests in the area and secretly planned the future. On May 1916, the British signed the Sykes-Picot Agreement. So these are the first initials of two leaders, Sykes and Picot, and they made an agreement with the French. The agreement was to divide, to split the region that we can see in the map here. We can see that at that time there was Mecca, Jeddah, Medina, Riyadh, and the Arab countries that we are speaking about. But the agreement was to divide the Ottoman territories, which are Syria first, second, Iraq, third, Lebanon, and Palestine, eventually uh, splitting them or dividing them into French and British administered areas, which means that now the French and the British have control over these regions, or um, they are managing the affairs that from these countries. The main architects of the agreement were the British Sir Mark Sykes. Here we have the name Sykes, and the French Picot, Francois Georges Picot. He is French. And finally, we also have a third party, which is Russia, was also represented in this agreement by Sergei Dmitrievich Saznov or Saznov. So this was the three people that have been secretly planning the future of the Arab region. And like we explained in the class, based on this agreement, Britain was to gain control. So over Jordan, they have decided to split countries, like we said. So British Empire or Britain Empire get to control over this country, Jordan and Iraq, including Baghdad and the ports, Mediterranean ports of Haifa and Akko. So this has been converted from the Ottoman rule to the control of the British Empire. Finally, the other regions that France has got control of is Syria, Lebanon, Adana, and Cilicia or Cilicia. Okay, so there we have stopped in today's lesson. The final page is more details that we are going to discuss, inshallah, next class. For now, I'm going to stop here. If you have any questions, I'm more than welcome to help you answer them. And see you next class, inshallah.